Hi, everybody. Welcome to this special edition of this is a satellite digital media sports exclusive. Welcome, Professor B here on the campus of City College of San Francisco. Welcome to our 2025 college baseball, Bay Area college baseball season in preview here at the Broadcast Media Center here on the campus of City College of San Francisco. Welcome to the 2025 College Baseball Media Day, as we are going to get you ready for the 2025 NCAA College Baseball season. We will take a look of all of the Bay Area teams. We're going to from all the Bay Area teams from Cal, Stanford, University, or I should say it'll be Stanford, Cal, San Jose State, Santa Clara, St. Mary's, and USF, and the Santa Clara Broncos. We'll take a look of all the conferences, and this was something we did last week at the Bay Area College Baseball Media Day. And we'd like to first shout out to Tyler Gevart, the media relations information director for Stanford Baseball, for his for setting this up. We did last week. We're doing the full podcast in its entirety. So we're going to start it off. We're going to save the best for last. We're going to first start it off with. We will start it off with. We will start it off with the San Francisco Giants, led by head coach, the third-year head coach, Rob DeToma. San Francisco last year finished the West Coast Conference dead last in the WCC. They end up going in WCC play. They end up finishing with a dismal finish last year. They end up going 4-20 in WCC play, and then end up overall they end up going 21-34. And they end up finishing dead in last place in the WCC for the first time since 2002. First time since they have gone to this format, divisional or conference alignment format, since 2006. First time they finished in last place since 2002, and the 20 losses is the most losses in conference, the most conference losses by the San Francisco team, the most since 2000. That club ended up going 10-20, except for the 2002 club lost more games by a one-game margin when they went 9-21 in 2002. A dismal year for the San Francisco Giants. They end up finishing the 20 losses, the most since 2000. Their overall record, 21-34, is their worst finish. They suffered their worst season since 1999, when Nino Giarratano took over the program more than a quarter century ago. And speaking of the San Francisco Giants, this was a program that had been marred by a lot of controversy. A lot has happened since Giarratano left and since DeToma took over. In league play, they are just 12-39 in the last three seasons in conference play, in the last two full seasons since Nino Giarratano has left the program. So let me just wiggle it around a little bit on Rob DeToma. We are going to show you some stuff right here. We're streaming on both of our platform pages, so just going to give you a little bit of time just to give you an example of Rob DeToma. We'll get to his he talking with the media on conference line in just a moment. So we will share you. So we take a look of just having a little bit of a hard time where okay, so we got this one, and then we're also doing this on YouTube on our main channel though too. So we take a look of it right there on our screen as looking at Datoma's record, it's not been that well since he left, as the Dons have a different new team this year, and we're gonna start it off with the presser he had This was from last week as he talked with a couple of his players and talk about this upcoming season for San Francisco.
To do things the right way here. We've kind of cycled through who can be a part of what we're trying to do and who can't. We are very excited about the leadership on this team. Two of them are sitting right here with me. We have a good group of core leaders, pitching staff that's pretty much every single person that was significant innings for us is returning. The return of a healthy TJ this year for us is huge. And obviously, looking at the numbers and everything, we were not very good offensively last year. We were really good on the mound, top 35, 40 in most categories nationally. Just couldn't score enough runs to win, and we believe we've made significant increases talent-wise, personnel-wise, coaching staff-wise to kind of correct that and make it a little better on the offensive side. So we feel pretty confident in what we're doing. We're working hard every day, and we're excited about the season.
Starter role if we have proper backing behind him. So we really
Our
like
next
that.
program is
We're
the San
pumped about
Francisco
the defense we have
Dons,
behind
led
us.
by head coach Rob DeToma.
Pitching staff, and you also talked about like how year three has kind of been your year where you kind of spike up a bit in the past. So that combination's got to feel pretty good. Just give us your what you're looking for from your rotation this coming season, and just in general your arm staff about how comfortable you are with them.
Yeah, our entire weekend rotation is back. Adam Shoe's a little banged up right now. He pitched every weekend for us last year up until he got hurt at the end. So, but we have a grad transfer in Aiden Rissy who probably step into a starter role here early in the year from a D3 school barn in New York. So, 15 returning pitchers. Myself and Coach Supley, our pitching coach, on the recruiting trail this summer. I mean, nowadays you can add transfer arms, you can add older arms, but we were really pumped about what we had and the development that went on the pitching side. So we really thought just keep investing in the people we have. We don't need to run people out of here and bring in new older pitchers. So some of the guys who didn't pitch that much last year, younger guys, we feel can step right into some roles of significance. So Joey Soberone and Lance
my breaking ball back because
years of college
as a prep athlete in high school, that was my best pitch. It just wasn't after the surgery. Turned out I became a coordinator, and changeups and sinkers were my bread and butter last year. So that was the big find for me.
Gotcha. And TJ, kind of a similar question. You only had like 40 some odd at-bats the year before, and then last year you lead the team in hitting. Kind of the same question. What clicked for you going into last season, and what changed?
Yeah, I mean, like you said, I didn't have very many at-bats. My kind of default has been my hitting my whole career. And then I just felt like last year, talking with the coaching staff and everything, and just working through, like, seeing the ball was the main part for me. Just seeing the ball and like forming an approach to each at bat, because I really didn't have much of an approach when I was hitting my first couple of years in college. I was still kind of learning those kind of things, but once I developed an approach to each pitcher and everything like that, that's when I kind of felt like everything started to click for me.
Great, thanks guys.
Our next question will come from College Baseball Weekly.
Coach, how you doing?
Good. Hey, how are you?
Good. I know you said you have most of your rotation coming back, but I do see you have a early midweek game versus Washington. Do you think you'll dip into that rotation when you go up against the Huskies, Coach?
Yeah, great question. We do start with 2 4-game weekends, so we're probably dipping into it right away and trying to figure out who that fourth person's going to be. So it's hard moving out to this area a couple of years ago. The midweeks are a little harder to find and a little more spread out. So we do try and have 4-game weekends early, but no, we do have a lot of guys we trust, probably 11, 12 pitchers right now that we need to get out there and get them into situations and see what they could do. So I wouldn't say we have someone who's going to face Washington and get 6 innings into that game. It's probably going to be a lot of guys, and it'll depend on how Washington's after Central Michigan. So how we come out of that weekend, it'll probably be a case-by-case situation. But we're pretty confident we have a lot of guys who can get us 3, 6, 9 outs. So it's probably going to be those type of, the typical midweek in college.
Excellent, excellent. And for Joe, you said you were able to last year, learn what your best pitch was by, in-game situations. Would you attribute that to the coaches obviously believing in you and giving you that chance to do that?
Absolutely. Yeah, I think, like I said, when I came here, it was clear that it was a proving ground in the fall, and there was a lot of guys out to prove something. Several grad guys came in, and some of us performed and some of us didn't. But we built a culture where it was everyone pushing for each other. And when the opportunities came, it was just go out there and compete. There wasn't too much mechanical work. It was more, what can you execute over the plate? And how's it interfacing with our hitters and then in scrimmages against other schools. But yeah, like you said, the opportunity is what really produced for me.
Absolutely. And for TJ, I see you start off at Austin P and you stayed at San Francisco. A lot of times kids, you see them transfer more than once, but it looks like you found a great home there. What is it that you love about University of San Francisco and what, Coach has going on there for you?
Yeah, so I was at Austin P my freshman year, and then I had Rob Jatoma picked me up over summer. And then everything he told me about the culture and that he was trying to build here, I just completely agreed with. And then I've seen it over the past 2 years. I mean, obviously we haven't been winning that much, but it's been cool to see the building blocks that we're building this year, especially with the guys that we have. And I feel like that's the main reason I kind of want to stay here, is because of the guys we're building around this program is becoming something pretty special.
All right, Coach, gentlemen, have a great one. It's about to be a fun, long season come next weekend. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Once again, if you have any questions for our participants, please use the raise hand function. Joe, you have kind of an interesting situation right now. You're in law school. I don't know a lot of college baseball players that are doing that. Can you talk us to a little bit about what your day might look like, whether it's practice, on to law school? How are you balancing those? And do you find it much different than an undergrad degree or any other graduate degree you might be pursuing or may have already pursued?
Yeah, it's absolutely different. It's been a fun challenge. I will say I don't do it alone. The coaches are very flexible with me. The registrars at USF Law have been very good to me. Professors and friends and classmates, everybody's helped me out. It's a cool story that they're all a part of. And yeah, I'll say my hardest day right now, I have a pretty cool schedule for the season. It's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday in class. Thursday, Friday, Sunday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm off. But those Wednesdays, I'm gearing up for a weekend start spot, obviously. And Wednesday is my bullpen day. So I go class at 8 a.m., class again at 11. I have lunch. I go through a bullpen. I go to weights, and then I have class 6:30 to 9:30 p.m. And then I clock out for Wednesday. Thursday, I'm off. So Wednesday is my Friday. It's great. And then I rest today. I'll rest today on Thursday. Do some mobility work on Friday and be ready to throw on Saturday. But yeah, I spend a lot of time, like Coach said, on the bus. I sit up front with the coaches. I'm reading. Sometimes I'm on Zoom classes. I've been a part of some really cool stuff with the law school, though. And, my dream is to be a practicing attorney and then end up being a sports agent somewhere down the road, staying in the sports world. So when I heard that I had this opportunity with Coach to not only pitch a bunch, but, work on that plan B, that second life I'll have, it was really special.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That's a really, really cool story. I was reading about it and I was really inspired. That is really cool.
Thank you.
TJ, quick question for you as well. You led the team, hit 316 for the first 36 games, and then suffered a little bit of an injury. How did that motivate you coming into this year, knowing that you were off to a great start, a hot start, everything looked like it was clicking for you, and then you got shut down? Is that provided a little more motivation coming into this year? And what did you take from that time off, maybe sitting in the dugout watching your teammates try to finish that season?
Yeah, so actually I've been injured 2 years in a row. I tore my left shoulder the first year and then tore my right one last year, like you said. But I mean, I feel like injuries, they do something to you. They make you come back stronger. And I feel like through these past almost 8 months now, I've become a completely different player than I was last year. And I think even better than what I was last year. So injuries have been kind of a blessing almost. I don't know if I kind of call it like that, but I feel like it's been good. And it's watching the team play and not seeing me out on the field is like it makes me want to be back out there even more.
Rob, looking back at fall and kind of the work that you guys put in preparation for 2025, was there anyone that stood out that made a large stride, the biggest stride of your players that are returning, and maybe someone we can count on for potentially a breakout season for the Dons?
Yeah, it was a couple, but I think Cal Amborn on the mound for us, who pitched around 20 innings last year. He was coming off an injury last year, but he has kind of taken it to another level for us, where he will be competing for that third starter spot or the back end or the first guy you trust out of the bullpen. I wouldn't say it was like a big velocity jump. It's just his pitches are doing a lot more than they were last year. So he was one on the pitching side. Yeah, hitting wise, I mean, a freshman of ours, Eddie Escobar, is just, I wouldn't say I haven't seen him since high school, but he's someone who, the rare nowadays at a mid-major, that I think can step in and play as a freshman every single day. His knowledge of his own at-bats, what he's looking for, if you talk through approach with him, what TJ said, it took for TJ to do a year or two of college ball to understand. He seems to have that mentality and mindset already as a hitter. And we're pretty pumped with our infield in general, but Tyler Harries, who's a transfer, who when TJ went down, you just never know, right? So we wanted to get someone else who could play with him when they both come back, and I am beyond fired up about what our middle infield can be. We have what we believe to be two of the best shortstops in our conference on the team, and both of them could play second and short. So I know the team you had on before us is getting national recognition for their middle infield. We like to chase them down, and we think we're pretty damn good in the middle. So pretty fired up about that. And big addition to Kenny Diesel in center field as a fifth-year senior transfer from grad transfer from Sonoma State. I mean, our middle defense should be pretty sound with leadership. So that should be, like I said earlier, the Cal Amborns, the Gabe Barretts, the guys who threw significant innings but weren't at the top of their game. That's the difference in our rotation and pitching staff depth-wise right now.
You talked about year 3 being kind of a big year in the past at previous stops, and hopefully, obviously, here at USF. What do you kind of say is your team culture? How do you define your team culture, and how have the two guys next to you really helped to instill that at San Francisco?
Well, you hear these two guys' stories. They've overcome adversity. They deal with a lot of things on a daily basis, and we have a lot more than these two stories of guys that have gone into significant roles now for a team where other people left them behind or injuries. As TJ said, it might have been a blessing to him. It didn't help our lineup any to not be writing his name down anymore. But I can attest to what he's saying. When I saw him in July and August, I couldn't believe where he was physically compared to where we left him when the season ended, and just top to bottom. And that's why year 3 for me, it is that, because I work really hard and the staff works really hard at finding the right people. And hopefully you guys can gather from talking to these guys that they are the right people, and it's more than them. And it just takes, from my experience, it takes a year or two to find out who's going to buy into what you're doing. We just talk about going 1-0 every day, winning the next pitch. Our whole value system is based on what we say is ACT. It's bringing the best attitude you could bring every day, being the best competitor you could be every day, and being the best teammate you could be. And these guys, they embody it, they live it. I firmly believe if you are in control of your attitude and how you approach situations, your mindset needs to be your advantage, not your not go with the flow of how things are going on around you. You attack those situations, and then we ask our guys to, whatever they have that day, compete at the highest level of whatever they have left in the tank that day for that situation. And you've heard it from both of these guys, getting on the top step and being your teammate's best supporter. I mean, you heard it from Vitello when they won the World Series. Like, these are the best teammates who've ever been around. It's impossible to be a championship team without that level of, rooting for each other and backing each other up, and at the same time competing with each other for the same positions on the same field. And that's kind of where we are as a program. It's the things we talk about. We thought we were in a good spot with that at this point last year, and then we missed some red flags early on. And I don't think we're missing any red flags this time. And it's just a much better core leadership group that these two guys are a part of. That it was a real turning point for us late in fall. We played what I thought was a poor game at San Jose State. Some of our team didn't interpret it as a poor game. It was the first time I think they understood, oh, we're being held to a championship level standard here this year. And we had some tough talks, some falling outs over that last 2 weeks of October. And guys, I think, can tell you they started to buy into, oh, this is the vision, this is the plan. The dropping of pop-ups to not being in the right place of a relay, the lack of focus on an execution is not going to be acceptable anymore. And that's kind of been the turning point since about October 25th to 31st that week. A lot of meetings, a lot of banging your head against the wall, some changing of the leadership of the team. And from the minute we declared what our roster was going to be, I've seen just people that I was questioning their behavior. There's nothing to question anymore. And that's a credit to these guys and the other 4 guys in our quote unquote captain leadership group that just said, we're done with this, and that's when does a program turn? When the players are sick and tired of being laughed at, being picked for last, being nobody on their all conference team to start the year. And we get it. You got to earn that respect, but I'm glad our guys are tired of it at this point.
Sounds like leadership certainly is something that TJ and Joe worked on a little bit, obviously, in the offseason. If they didn't already, were huge leaders last year for your club, but that's definitely a step up, as you just mentioned. What on the field, TJ and Joe, what was kind of the focus in the offseason for you to try to get your game to the next level this year?
Yeah, for me, it was just rehabbing the whole time, getting as strong as possible. I was pretty downgraded physically last year. I gained almost 15 pounds. That was the biggest thing for me, is putting on my weight, putting my weight back on and getting healthy, and then just coming back in this fall and teaching our guys what our culture is going to be and how it's going to go this year. So
For myself, I believe I took some time to recognize what my strengths were last season, and it became clear to me that what separated me from a lot of pitchers in our conference, and I think in college baseball in general, was that I was dependable. I showed up every Sunday. I was the Sunday starter, and I was going to give you 6. I was going to give you 7. So I spent a lot of this offseason just making sure I was in shape and, staying healthy. And, I'm getting up there. I'm 23 now, making sure my body's going to be ready to do it all over again. 14 times. We're going to make it probably 17 this year. I'm ready to go. Just maintaining. I added another pitch this year, and we're going to use that to as much as we can. But again, that same arsenal of changeup, sinker, just mastering that with Coach Suplee and, working to both sides of the plate this year. I lived in a bunch last year, but I'm able to control the ball on both sides now after, this fall, just spending time in the bullpen and in our scrimmages.
All right. Thank you. I see no more questions for the Dons. So thank you to Coach Totoma, Joe, and TJ. Good luck to the Dons as they open the 2025 season with a 4-game series against Sacramento State.
And then just coming back in
Thank
this
you.
fall
Thanks,
and
guys.
teaching our guys what and how it's going to go this year. So
For myself, I believe
All right, so that's what you heard from Coach Rob DeToma's third season on the Hilltop for the University of San Francisco. A lot of changes have gone on the Hilltop in recent years, as the San Francisco Dons will start their season on Friday. This Friday is opening day throughout all around the 305 Division One college baseball schools across the country. So let's see where the Dons going to start for the 2025 season. They will start their season coming up this Friday on Valentine's Day. It's going to be a very busy sports weekend on the wraparound on the President's Day holiday weekend, the 3-day weekend. We got, of course, the NBA All-Star game coming up in the weekend starting on Friday. So we take a look at what the USF will have on their docket to start the season. A lot of you guys, just a little bit of a delay. it's been well illustrated what has happened to that program in the recent years. And then the stat of the day, since the USF Dons they are 27 games under 500, 12-39, and 39-63 overall since Coach Giarratano left the program. Since he left that program, San Francisco has been under 500 with the worst record in the WCC, except for Pacific by far a large margin. Only one game separates those two teams for the worst record. It doesn't get any better for San Francisco. And I always talk about in the West Coast Conference, me being a former, used to with the University of San Francisco and with St. Mary's. If you lose your first 3 games in conference play, you will be right out of the gate 3 games out of first for a spot in the West Coast Conference. You'll be 3 games back. Not only you're 3 games out of first place, but you will, and then you'll play another series with St. Mary's, and they face the prospect of being 0-6. Losing their first 6, or at the very least, losing 5 of your first 6 games. You lose your first 3 games in conference, you're already 3 games back to start off the series. It's a 3-game swing already. And if they're lucky to win 1 game against St. Mary's, they could find themselves 6 games back before the calendar turns to April Fool's Day. If they could play themselves way out of it. They could play themselves out of it before the calendar hits, and then they go up to Gonzaga. They could play themselves out of the race real quick. It's going to be another long season for San Francisco. Just to look up the rest of the WCC standings, the West Coast Conference standings. They'll start off 3 against Gonzaga. They're at Gonzaga for 3. Then they go up and play at Washington State at Bailey Brayton Field. And then they come home, weekend series against LMU. And then at Nevada on the 14th. Then they'll get a little bit of a break. They'll play Pacific. And then they're home against San Jose State. Remember, they beat the Spartans 3 out of 4 last year. It's going to be a long season for San Francisco. I just don't see things really, I just don't see things getting any better for San Francisco. It's going to be a long season for the USF Dons. I just don't see it happening. It's going to be, you look at that conference, San Diego is the team. You have Portland, Gonzaga, Portland. St. Mary's is going to be there to the end. They lost a lot of players from last year's team. And, I just don't see enough for San Francisco to be in this conversation. And I see them finishing no better than 8th place in the I see them finishing dead last again. And like I said, if you start off 0-3 in conference play, you're already 3 games back. But if you fall 0-6, or if you're lucky, you lose 5 of your first 6 games in the first 2 weekends in conference play, you would have dug yourself in a hole. So we're going to take this time out. When we come right back, we're going to take a look back of the 2020, the preview of the 20, as we continue on the 2025 College Baseball Media Day. Seeing us on Facebook or on YouTube, our main page, youtube.com/SDM, if you want to watch the replay of this later on. So I'm Brian Professor B. Davis. We'll take this quick time out, and when we come back, we will continue the preview. We will take a look of the preview of the 2025 Bay Area College Baseball Media Day. We'll continue to stay in the West Coast Conference, we'll take a look of a preview of the Santa Clara Broncos. I'm Brian Professor B. Davis. You're watching this Satellite Digital Media exclusive special, the 2025 Bay Area College Baseball Media Day. This is a Satellite Digital Media special exclusive. We'll take this time out. We'll be right back. Welcome back to, as we continue on our Satellite Digital Media's 2025 Bay Area College Baseball Preview. Our next team to preview for 2025, it is the Santa Clara Broncos. Last year, the Broncos ended up finishing the season, in conference play. They end up finishing, taking a look at their standings in 2025. Santa Clara end up finishing in the middle of the pack. They end up finishing in 5th in the WCC conference, 12-12 in the conference, and they finished both at even 500 at 12-12, and then they end up finishing 26-26 overall. Remember, Santa Clara 2 years ago won the WCC tournament. They end up winning the WCC tournament, as we have some technical difficulties on our YouTube set. They end up finishing at 500. Last year, they end up, and this was a team that won the WCC tournament and returned to the NCAA regionals 2 years ago for the first time since 1997. They begin the 8th year under their head coach, Rusty Filter. So we will take a look of his history for Rusty Filter. So we take a look of Rusty Filter and his background as a head coach. Unfortunately, we're having some technical difficulties right now. Here we go. So this is Rusty Filter's playing career. We're going to flip it on the other part, though, too, where Rusty Filter got the wrong one. So here we go. So I'm going to pull this up. taking a look of the preview as we are hope we get our video. So we got our video back on our YouTube channel or our Facebook version. We're doing this podcast live, so we now are going to go to Coach Filter at his press conference or his conference last week at Stanford as they preview the 2025 Santa Clara Broncos. And this segment begins right now. We'll just give you just a moment, and we're going to so give us 1 minute.
Our first programmer of the day will be Santa Clara. The Broncos went 26-26 last year and finished 5th in the West Coast Conference. We'll begin with a statement from 8th-year head coach Rusty Filter before opening it up for questions for Coach Filter, graduate first baseman Dylan Joyce, and senior left-handed pitcher Brandon Gomez. Coach Filter, if you want to start us with an opening statement about your team in the fall leading up to 2025.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us and taking out the time to, get college baseball started. I mean, here we are 9 days out, super excited to open up in Stephen Schott Stadium with Cal State Northridge. We've had beautiful weather the entire fall. I think averaged about 72 degrees, and just like, par for the course. Storms have hit, kind of lets us know baseball season's around the corner. So we didn't reach those goals. Super excited about the incoming talent that we've obtained, 16 new players to the program. I often get asked about my team and what I think. And I know that I love my team. I know they work extremely hard. I know they're working on their mental approach. We spend a lot of time in the weight room in the fall. I think we're a physical team. We've got enough returning players to be competitive, and I'm really excited about the future with our freshman class. So, we're looking forward to getting underway to kind of see what we've got. I'm not sure at this point. I don't have a starting rotation. Two things that I know is Brandon Gomez, senior left-hand pitcher, sitting next to me on my left. Could pitch on Friday night, could pitch on Saturday, could pitch on Sunday, could be our closer. We've had the conversation about putting together the team and doing whatever it takes to win. I know that Dylan Joyce will be playing first base and hitting in the middle of our lineup, supplying some power, a power threat, along with, good batting average, low strikeout percentage, and a really good defensive player. So returning outside of that, Ben Cleary was a second baseman last year as a freshman, had a good season. He will move to shortstop this year. Malcolm Williams was our shortstop. He will move to second base. Thomas Ferragero was injured in the first weekend. We did not get him for the rest of the year. He will return at third base. And other than that, it's pretty much a clean slate, and everybody's competing for spots. We've got a lot of players that have been in the program 2 or 3 years waiting for their opportunity, as we lost a lot from last year. And there's been a lot of competition with those players and the incoming freshman and junior college transfers. So we're excited to get underway and can't wait to play Cal State Northridge next Friday night.
Excellent. We'll open it up for questions. Eric, I'm working on figuring that out on the new Zoom, but if you have a question, feel free to ask that now.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. I'm unmuted. All right. Well, just wanted to make sure. Hey, Coach Filter, just good to see you again. I guess my first question was, or the biggest question is, just with so many new players, I know you got pretty much a whole new team. It almost seems like in some ways, but you have 17 new players. How do you kind of address that? Like, how do you go about going into a season? Is it any different than any other season with new players or with a lot of returning players?
Well, I think it's, we obviously spend the first part of our plan is to establish culture, and we call ourselves the Bronco Boys, and there's a lot that goes into that. And it's really getting these guys to buy in from day one. And, I'm so thankful that we have great leadership, and these guys really kind of, set the tone for what that means. Other than that, the workload is pretty similar. We have a new assistant coach in Jason DiCochea. He took over for John Karsich. He did a great job for us here at Santa Clara. Jason is a past player in the program and works with the infielders. So we've just kind of hit the ground running. The work ethic piece, I think, is first, finding out who can play where, who's multidimensional, what do they bring to the table. A lot of these younger players, they've got a lot more power than players we've had in the past, but their swing and miss rate is a little too high. So, we're just really trying to find out what we have. I think that's a little bit different. The last couple of years, we could probably write the lineup at the end of summer before they report. This year it's just, it's pretty much wide open, and we're gonna audition a lot of players and see who's going to take those roles.
Gotcha. One of the players I wanted to ask about, you had a 4-year transfer, a couple of 4-year transfers, but Robert Avazian from Cal, I don't know, I might be butchering the pronunciation, but what do you see from him for this coming season? Him being a transfer from nearby Cal?
Yeah, so Rob Avazian, first is out for the season. He had Tommy John. He threw 2 innings in the fall. Rob Avazian brings some experience at the Division I level. He's definitely a high-end type of pitcher. I would put him in the category as a couple of our other guys like Brandon as pro prospects. We were kind of revamping his style and how he was going about pitching, and he's been a great addition to the team. It's unfortunate that he will be out this season and will not pitch until next year, but he's been a good addition to the program.
Sorry to hear that, Coach. All right, this one's for Brandon Gomez. I know this is, again, talking about kind of a lot of new players, and there's only, if I counted right, only 7 guys that are seniors on the team this coming year. Do you feel like, is it because of that, are you kind of taking more of a leadership role this year, or what is different about approaching this season?
I don't think there's anything much different about this season. It's kind of, you got to win today. And everybody on our team, all the young guys, the new guys, they've all bought into this idea of the culture that we have, and where everybody is a leader of themselves, and they hold themselves accountable, and the person next to them trying to do the best they can for the team and everybody to win.
Good. Dylan, question for you. I know you transitioned from Division III to Division I last year and got your cleat stuck in last year for Division I. What was that transition like? And what do you expect of yourself this coming season?
Yeah, the transition from Division III to Division I was a big jump. Fortunately, I joined a program that was very welcoming, and they brought me on and kind of helped me jump to that new level. I think that last year was a great learning experience. I got to learn what playing a midweek game was like. We didn't have that at the Division III level. And so kind of getting through that 56-game season was a learning curve, and I'm excited to do it all again this year. And yeah.
Cool.
We have a question from College Baseball Weekly.
Yes, can you guys hear me now?
Yep.
Yes.
How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing good. How are you?
Good. This is for you, but particularly for all of you. I see you who you guys open up with, but are you excited about that series against Texas on the road?
we're not worried about any of that stuff right now.
Right. And Dylan, they talked earlier about your transition from a small college to Division I. Are you excited to play at a place like University of Texas?
All right, we're on a very short, strict time constraint, so we're going to have to move on very quick. They're going to be shutting down the facility here at City College at the Broadcast Center at around right before the top of the hour at 6 o'clock. So we're a little 2 minutes past the bottom of the hour. So we're going to take this very quick time out, and then we're going to move on. By the way, Santa Clara they will be playing, like you just heard on the podcast. They'll be playing. They'll start it up against Cal State Northridge this Friday night at 6 p.m. 3 games set on the weekend. Game 1 Friday at 6, Saturday at 1, Sunday at 12 noon Pacific, and then they'll play UC Davis 3 against at UC Davis over the weekend. Friday night at 6, Saturday afternoon at 2, Sunday at 1. Then they'll play San Jose State for their midweek on the 23rd. They come up here they'll be playing the California Golden Bears for our home series over the weekend. They'll play Friday and Saturday. They'll be over at Berkeley, and then Sunday and Monday they will be over in Santa Clara. It's a home series. And then the big one will be coming up when they'll take on Texas, a perennial powerhouse, one of the great college baseball's marquee programs. They'll travel to Austin. They'll play a series down there March 7th, 8, and 9. Very interesting from the Big 12 Conference, and they'll play Oregon State on the 15th, and then UC San Diego. They'll still play. Then they'll play Stanford on April Fool's Day on a Tuesday, a 6:05 at Palo Alto. Then they'll play Hawaii. And this should be a good, favorable schedule, because if you can get some wins against those perennial teams, that will really help in your RPI. We're taking this quick time out. Don't go away. When we come back, we'll continue with the WCC. We will preview the St. Mary's Gaels from Moraga, Eric Valenzuela, and Friday starter Derek Quinto. Eric Valenzuela beginning his 8th season, in his second year, in his second stint with the Gaels. And we'll take this brief time out. We'll be right back right after this. Of what we lost, and even right, as we continue on Satellite Digital Media's Baseball 2025 Bay Area College Baseball Media Day preview, Professor B here at the Broadcast Center on the campus of City College, Community College in San Francisco. We're going to now preview the 2025 St. Mary's Gaels. We're not going to have time to with the interview, the profile on Eric Valenzuela. He has gotten over 300 career wins. He's now the all-time winningest head coach in St. Mary's Gaels history. He's with graduate student athlete, senior Derek Quinto. We're going to show you that interview right now. Okay, we have a little technical. We're going to show it to you right now. We're ready.
Our next program is the St. Mary's Gaels, led by head coach Eric Valenzuela in his 8th season overall. He is joined today by graduate left-hand pitcher Derek Quinto. The Gaels went 34-22 last year and finished 3rd in the West Coast Conference. Coach Valenzuela, if you want to start us off with an opening statement about your team in the fall leading up to the 2025 season.
Yeah, good morning, guys. I didn't know if I had to be in a suit or whatever. I was going to get Derek and I were going to get suited up for this thing, in uni or tuxedo. But anyways, thanks for having us. Obviously excited to get this thing going. Hey, I wrote down a couple things on here just with an opening statement. I mean, we're excited to get going next Friday if this weather can hold off. But we got, a tough St. Louis team coming in to open. Just a couple things for our team. We have 21 new players. The roster breakdown includes 3 grad students, 5 seniors, 9 juniors, 8 sophomores, and 17 freshmen. Our schedule, which I believe is one of the tougher schedules on the West Coast, 23 games versus teams in the top 100 RPI last year, 7 games versus preseason top 25 teams. We open up with St. Louis. We got Vandy on the road. We're at, UCSB. We're at Oregon for 2, at Creighton, Sac State, San Diego State. I mean, it's a tough, tough schedule for sure. Some of our older guys, we got a pretty mixed group. As far as we lost a lot of seniors, especially from the offensive side of things. We returned Derek, who was our Friday guy last year. And then we returned 2 more all-conference players with Ryan Pierce and Brian Duroff, who are also seniors. And so, we're young, a lot of freshmen, but we also have a lot of older guys with some experience, and some guys that really kind of need to step it up a little bit, especially with the schedule that we're going to endure here early. Like I said, we open up with St. Louis at home for 4 games. They do a great job, won 37 games last year. think they're favored to win the A10. I saw Baseball America put them as a 3 seed preseason. So, I mean, I'm sure they have some high expectations. Then we go, that's 4 games. And then we drive on Monday, the Monday after, and drive to Santa Barbara, play them. Tuesday, we drive back on Tuesday night, get back about 2 a.m. probably, and then we leave on Thursday to Nashville and play Vanderbilt for 3 on the road. So that's a tough, first 8 games to start. So, yeah. Questions?
Thank you. We have a question from Eric Sorensen from D1.
What's up, E?
Big E, what's going on, man? Good to see you. I look forward to seeing you sometime, hopefully in the next few months, obviously.
Absolutely.
I'm going to change my question a little bit because you mentioned the schedule, and I'd forgotten that you guys are going to be playing that gauntlet. You've never been afraid to take team. I remember you took your team to Mississippi State, your Long Beach team, I should say, to Mississippi State after they won the national title and actually won that series. But kind of, before I get to my other question, just what is your... You said about your philosophy sort of on scheduling, but how did this schedule come together? Is this something that you put together, or was it put together before you had gotten there, returned there?
You know what? I think it's just year by year. You're looking ahead at schedules and kind of figuring it out. I think.
We got good stuff.
There has to be some strategy behind it.
Looking at the team you have and what you got coming back, it's hard when you're doing it 2 or 3 years down the road, but me just getting back last year, I just felt like, especially in conference and kind of how this whole thing is working, right? Like the college baseball, in general, it's like, our conference is going to be tough, but we're going to have to schedule like this non-conference to, even, think about an at-large bid at some point. So, and I just feel like, okay, well, it'll give us 2 chances, right? It'll give us that at-large chance if we can win a lot of these games that we're going to play against good RPI teams and on the road at an SEC team and all of these teams. That can help and, get us into regional and beyond. And then, if for some reason, that backfires or does whatever, well, it's going to prepare us for conference, right? It's going to prepare us playing at Vandy and playing against St. Louis and playing on the road, in a 2 midweeks out of Oregon and Creighton and all that. That's going to prepare us for conference, which again would give us, another opportunity. So I think it's just, we're not afraid to play anybody, but you also got to be smart with scheduling too and understand the team that you have and if you're going to be young or you're going to be, experienced or a team that can handle doing it, because some teams are different than others. And the one thing you can do is beat yourself up early if you play too hard. If it's on the road, a million games, playing a bunch of teams that are older, that are, this and that, and then, you'll forget how to win. That's the other part of this thing. So, there's a lot of strategy behind it for sure. But I really believe that this team, it has a very good mixture of guys that can handle it. Derek included. It's always nice to have a Good Friday guy that's experienced and older and that kind of has been there, done that to kind of get us going every game one.
All right, I'll get to my original question then for you. And you mentioned it. 21 new players. You talked about having that many new players on your team. It's kind of similar to what I was asking Coach Bilter just a minute ago, with having a lot of turnover to this year's new faces that you're going to have. Did you handle it any different in the fall, or did you handle it any different going into the the preseason practices?
Well, I think one of the changes we made is last year, our first year back, we didn't play any fall games. We really had to kind of put in the system back, right, and get these. It's a totally new system from what they was before. It's just a new coaching staff. That's just how it was. So I felt like, playing, 2 games and basically, I'm not saying wasting a weekend, but, those weekends in the fall are, crucial when you're talking about teaching and developing, and especially from a team aspect of things. So I really felt like, like, okay, we have so much to put in. Let's not play, another team. Let's not, basically have a weekend where we miss a practice segment or inter squads or whatever. Where this year, because we have some returners and because the system is in place, and now we have so many new guys that it's like, okay, let's I don't want these guys surprised, when we're playing St. Louis that's their first game, 21 new guys that they're going to see how this thing works. So we played, 3. You could only play 2, but we played the Canadian team, which is an international team, so we were able to play 3. And then that's not that's also not including the alumni team. So I think that was one of the changes is that we went on the road to Northridge. We played on the road at Cal. We played that Canadian team here. I think that really helped us as well and helped the young guys kind of just get their feet wet already. As well as I thought we could handle it with a lot of the older guys. That has kind of been there. I think it's every coach's concern.
No, I think so.
Yep. Time, right? Especially with the weather.
Go ahead,
Steve. You're always you never feel like you're prepared as prepared as you could be. So I think with the amount of new guys, you just never feel kind of prepared. You're like, oh my gosh, this thing already it's happening right away. I mean, it's next Friday. It's on. We're right off the bat, playing a really good program. So feeling like you got to put everything in, or feeling like you're have I put in everything? Do they know? Are they going to play good baseball? Do they know all the fundies perfectly? Do they know all the persons? I mean, all those things are kind of running through your head. As a coach, you never feel like those are the things that I can control and be prepared. So I think with the amount of new guys, you just never feel kind of prepared. You're like, oh my gosh, this thing already it's happening right away. I mean, it's next Friday. It's on. We're playing. We're right off the bat. Playing a really good program. So feeling like you got to put everything in, or feeling like you're have I put in everything? Do they know? Are they going to play good baseball? Do they know all the fundies perfectly? Do they know all the persons? I mean, all those things are kind of running through your head as a coach, because those are the things that I can control, is them being prepared on the baseball field. So that's obviously that's our concern about it. What I'm excited about is I love this group, and regardless of what we lost, and even transfer portal guys that left, I feel like we have the right guys here, the guys that wanted to be here, returners, the freshmen that we recruited, and JC guys, our transfer portal guys. I feel like we have the right mixture of guys. Transfer portal is always dangerous. Why did they leave? Why are they transferring? All that. The 3 that we got, I feel, all left were their previous schools for reasons that that they weren't looking for anything more. They weren't doing this or that. I mean, it was like all 3 of those were valid reasons to transfer. So we got guys that are total team guys that want to be here, that want to get better and improve. We brought in JC guys that are 3 JC guys that are hungry, that want it, that want to be part of a winning culture, and want to do this. And we brought in freshmen that are Gaels, right, and that are the hard workers, are good in the classroom, they do things right on and off the field, and then they're mixed with all these guys that are back that now know what the expectations are of this program, and they get it, and they're all in. Now, does that equate to wins? We'll see, but it definitely equates to us enjoying, being around these guys every single day, and guys that I want to go to war with every single day, and I hope they feel the same way that, about us. And so that's what I'm excited about. Now, we're going to compete, and we're going to play very good teams, and we'll have our ups and downs, but, I'm not worried or stressed about anything other than going out there and competing.
And then specifically for you, if you consider Moraga home, and there's the old line about you can't go home again. Well,
sometimes you make a decision, and in my
after a year of being home
to go
again,
where I thought
line about
my family to go home, right? Born and raised in LA, my wife, same thing. You know what? It felt like my family and I have never been so happy, than we are right now. I mean, and I use this a lot. It's almost like the transfer portal, right? I mean, we were in a place where we had a lot of opportunities beforehand. Granted, because of the great players, that we had here, and sometimes you make a decision, and in my case, making a decision to go where I thought for my family to go home, right? Born and raised in LA, my wife, same thing. It felt like the right fit, and at the time it was, but this place is special, it really is. I mean, I always mention this. I mean, Look at Coach Bennett. I mean, that guy, he probably could have gotten probably could have been in the NBA by now. I mean, he could have done anything. And there's just a reason why he's still here, right? It's a great place. And you're right, Steve, that when you sometimes make decisions, like I say, like the transfer portal, you go, I'm looking for something better or more or money or this or that for whatever reason. And then you're going, damn, I had it, man, what am I doing? I had it great. It was just, and that's, I mean, you're right. You never really get to those decisions you don't get back. And in our case, we were lucky enough, and Mike Matoso was gracious enough, to have us back. And I mean, I really just could. I have so much energy and enthusiasm. My family, my kids, and I'm so much better of a coach. But I'm also so much better of a coach because of my 4 years at Long Beach as well, and learning about myself and about what this place meant to me for sure. It means to me.
All right.
Very good. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Derek, you're coming off of an all-conference performing season a year ago. What was kind of your off-season like, and how do you think you can take that next step even further at the front of the rotation for the Gaels?
Yeah, obviously I threw 80-something innings during the season, so the off-season was more of kind of rest and let's get the body ready for next year. I didn't play summer ball. Threw a couple innings here and there towards the end of the summer just to kind of stay loose and stay ready.
All right, we're going to wrap it up right now. That's going to be a wrap for this edition of the College Baseball Media Day. This is going to be considered as part one because they're getting ready to close up the studios here in San Francisco City College for today. We're about 5 satellite digital media news time, 5:54, 6 minutes before the top of the hour, 6 o'clock. We will have a part two tomorrow. We'll do the second half of the Bay Area Media Day. We won't forget we'll do San Jose State with Coach Brad Sanfilippo. He begins his 8th full season down in the South Bay in Santa Clara, or in San Jose. San Jose State Spartans, of course, they're from the Mountain West Conference. Of course, 2 years ago, they won the conference tournament. We're back in the postseason play for the first time in the NCAA Regional 2 years ago, for the first time since more than 2 decades. And we'll also, last but not least, we will preview both the California Golden Bears. Mike New, he begins his 8th season up in Berkeley. And last but not least, Stanford Cardinal Dave Esker, also in his 8th year down on the farm. Both 2 new residents in the new Atlantic Coast Conference. We'll do part 2 of our College Baseball Media Day tomorrow. Latest news on if you could watch this replay of the first part of this baseball media special, check us out on youtube.com/SDM News Network. That's youtube.com/@SDM News Network. That's it for now. Brian Professor B. Davis is signing off for now. Thank you for watching. Tomorrow we'll have part 2 of this media day as well. Thank you for watching, everybody. Wish you all, every one of you, thank you for watching this exclusive presentation of Satellite Digital Media Sports 2025 Bay Area College Media Baseball Preview on Satellite Digital Media News Network, where every team is a fan, every fan is a voice, the network home of champions. Wish all of you so long and have a very pleasant good night, everybody. Take care.